shifting gears to segment number 3. So we have talked about our trip to Boston and going to hang out with Andrew and all of the amazing things. There are so many cool things that are coming out. Bottled and Bond, 100 proof. We have this one, which is a specific pick with PM Spirits on the East Coast, Navy Yard, Queen Share, etc. But Jay and I are going to be touring. We're going to actually be there during harvest season to see everything, and I am beyond thrilled. And the cool thing that's really unique about Privateer Rum is, in my opinion, they are the best American distiller. That's not a knock on anybody else out there. This is just amazing liquid. And this is unique because we didn't even get into the whole aging of barrels. Most rums are ex-bourbon, with the exception of like Rondel Barrilito, which is exclusively ex-Oloroso sherry. And Privateer is one of the only rums that I know. I gotta learn which way the camera is going here, but one of the only rums that I know of, Jay, that is X nothing. It's virgin oak, this picks up a completely different flavor profile. So
I don't know of. I know some do special releases like that. This is their, and actually Worthy Park, speaking of, did a virgin oak release a few years back. It was only in Europe. But as far as anyone doing it as their like, this is their standard offering, I don't know anybody. And I will agree with you once again, no knock to anybody, but Privateer is probably making the best rum in America in my humble opinion. But yeah, it'll be exciting to get to experience that. Andrew will tell a much better story than I do, but he talks about the colonial times all the way up into Prohibition, and really the rum in New England specifically kept getting better right up until Prohibition. And it's unfortunate that Prohibition stopped it, because it was like considered to be one of the top 2 rum regions in the world at that time, which is just crazy, because it until 11 years ago, it really didn't exist anymore. Yeah.
And even further, so for a lot of our viewers, and even for myself, I know you and I have bonded early on over our love for American history. It wasn't really until I went through And a Bottle of Rum by Wayne Curtis, where you actually learn how profound rum was in colonial times, so much that it was the Sugar Act of 1733. And we talked earlier about molasses being discarded, and American colonists would actually buy molasses from the French colonies at a cheaper rate than what they could get from the English colonies. That created this whole Sugar Act, which prohibited that, which nobody honored. There was a lot of smuggling. British officers would turn a blind eye. They would take their little money under the table. And then, after about 30 years of that, the Molasses Act of 1765 came into play, where the British Royal Navy really started to crack down. And that was one of the many taxes that led to no taxation without representation, because that really had Americans at that time feel like they didn't have a right to free enterprise, and that there was a lot of animosity of, what do you mean that my whole purpose in life is to make you more money, England? And roughly, the spirit of 1776, I would say, was rum. I mean, so much so that you go into 1789, George Washington's the first ever presidential inauguration, and there were casks of rum that were being opened and consumed by George Washington. I mean, colonial soldiers had provisions of rum for medicinal, but also for morale. So it really was quite impactful, and rum was America's first spirit. And you get
really passionate about it, Brian. I wonder if Lin-Manuel Miranda should write a prequel to Hamilton about rum during the Revolution. I feel like that. I'll text him later.
Yeah. So we should have him on and be like, hey, so you know what, Jay and I, we'll write a little prequel.
If anyone knows Lin-Manuel and wants to introduce us, then please don't hesitate.
And it could be cool to just, because Alexander Hamilton, Aaron Burr, all of those guys were drinking.
They were drinking rum.
Yep, they certainly were. So,
Hamilton, we learned from the Hamilton musical, was trading rum in down in St. Nevis, right, part of St. Kitts, where he was born and grew up. He worked for I don't know the whole story. I don't want to get it wrong, but one of the things he was doing was keeping the books for his landlord, and part of it was trading rum, I believe.
Yeah, and a different founder's tie is one of my favorite quotes from, I think, your favorite, John Adams, was, and there's a quote, and I'm paraphrasing this, I'll have to get the exact quote later, but it's something to the effect of, it should be no surprise that a key ingredient in our revolution was molasses. And I mean, that's how important rum and molasses were. And at the time of the revolution, there were hundreds of distilleries throughout the New England area that were rum distillers. And it was seen before the revolution as, wow, this is great. We're Americans. Like, we have right to free enterprise. And the fact that we are doing this ourselves is amazing. Now, most of the liquid, as we'll hear from Andrew next month, was not great. Ooh, are we pouring some out?
I felt like I should have some ready for the.
So of course I've got my FRS.
Nice.
See that? Yes, I love it. But yes.
But you'll hear, right? We'll hear from Andrew more about that history, and I think it'll be really exciting, both to experience that New England style that is the now, but also the then, as well as and how that history ties into him and his family, who were privateers. Like, his family were actually private. It was actually, his ancestor was actually a privateer, and had many ships, but one of them was named the True American, and it's on some of the bottles that says True American Rum. So that's where he got the inspiration from. But we'll get into all that, both the history and then what they're doing today, and get to experience some of that as well, which will be exciting.
Absolutely. So I think that's really about it. So
I feel like this is good information, and I hope that people like it. We're just starting out. Throw a comment in if there's something you want us to add to your list. Right?
Make sure to like and subscribe, because that's what all the other people on YouTube say.
You got to say it, right? My kids are like, make sure
to smash that like and subscribe button, everybody. Yeah, smash that bell. We'll get animations at some point, but
we'll work on this better. But Bryan, if people want to get in touch with you, how are the best ways to do it?
Oh yeah, hang on. Give me 1 second. So I'm actually working on this right now. Champion. So to get in touch with me, you can find me on Instagram at The Rum Champion. I'm playing around with all these StreamYard things.
That's pretty fun.
And the other one that we have is Instagram at The Rum Curious. I will have this ready next time, Jay, so that we don't have the piece where I'm typing and audibleizing it. Or if you want to come to one of our rum clubs in the Southern California area, at the Rum Curious Club. And for you,
so I mean, the easiest way is our Florida Rum Society, at Florida Rum Society, is where you can get me. I have my own handle at like Facebook is where we do a lot of our conversations. So look up the Florida Rum Society group on Facebook. Instagram is at Florida Rum Society or at Trader-Jays, and Florida Rum Society at gmail.com works. Or throw a comment in the things, and we'll track you down. But like I said, we want to make this a show that people want to connect with. So if there's something that that you're looking to have us talk about, throw it in the comments or throw us an email.
100%. And the initial thought was, and we have both since talked to a few people, of having this be rum for beginners. If you want to hear our collaborations on barrel picks and kind of us doing tastings on those and what we hope to bring to market across the US, we're happy to cover that. If you want more history, if you want more whatever, we're here for it. We will start to have guests, starting with Andrew Cabot from Privateer next month.
All right, Brian, what did you pour when you saw me pouring as your farewell tot?
This was the most handily one. The Bottled and Bond. This is almost gone, and I'm now having to hoard this until it comes to the U.S. And the other ones that I opted not to do because there's such limited amount of liquid. These, ladies and gentlemen, these
the barrel
picks. This one is the historic one that Jay and I collaborated on, and this one is the first ever Rum Curious Club barrel pick. So when you get these little things, like that's what you get these little tiny samples on, and then Jay and I got to go, which we will post that at a later time, going, yes, I like this one. I like this one too. Cheers to you.
I like that. Cheers to you. I went with the Appleton 12 since I recommended it as a great one. And I mean, we're a little bit out of order, but I will say, if you have a rum group or you're like, hey, I'd love to do a barrel pick, like, shoot us a note. I have done a bunch of them, and I'm happy to help guide if there's someone who's looking to do that. So, yeah. But with that, my friend, should we toast to the name? And I'll say rum rise.
Rum set.
Cheers. We'll see you next time.
See ya.